Bright suns and rising moons, fellow droids. Welcome to the Not the Droids podcast. I'm Danny.
And I'm Mayuri, and today we're going to be talking about Andor Season 1, Episode 8, titled Narkina Fa? I think that's how you say it. When did this come out?
This came out October 26th, 2022.
Oh, that's good.
So here
I
we are. We're on episode 8 of 12.
finally, I this prison is wild.
Before we get to prison, we start off jumping between Cyril and Cassian. It's just like, but it's not like
Oh my God, there's
saying
like
anything.
no break. It just like goes right in
It's like
back and
we're
forth,
giving you snapshots of these two, and it's not
happening at
even
the
like
same
major,
time.
it's like little like blips of
Yeah, well,
the.
that's why it's just like it literally it's like the scene is going and then all of a sudden you're like, nope, it's the next one.
Yep.
And I was like, oh. I think these two are like the main enemies. And maybe Cassian doesn't know it yet, but Cyril it's like here's Cassian is Cyril's arch nemesis and
hmm
Cassian doesn't know that he exists.
it's like Will Wheaton and
I need you to know the only reason I know that
Sheldon.
reference, yeah, it's Sheldon Cooper. The only reason I know who that man is because of Big Bang Theory.
That
I know.
disappoints me so much.
I have only seen the new Star Trek
You want
movies.
me to give you a sidebar though?
Yeah.
So Will Wheaton just that. So LeVar Burton used to do this thing called LeVar Reads.
Yeah.
Very Reading Rainbow as a podcast where you got to read short stories. Well, he stopped it a while ago, and Will Wheaton just released a little mini update is that he loved it so much, he asked LeVar if he could take over. And so now Will Wheaton is starting his own version of that as a podcast, and he's one of my favorite like audiobook narrators to listen to because he does like Ready
That'll be
Player
nice.
One. He just has one
Yeah.
of those voices that you're like, please just read a book to me. And so he's starting doing this, so that should be coming out soon.
That'll be nice. You will be excited.
I love a good podcast.
I love a good podcast. Don't know how I feel about that one. I've never heard the original, so maybe I'll listen to that.
Were you like a
Actually,
were you a Reading Rainbow kid?
no.
Okay, so that like it was like reading Rainbow for adults, and he just read like short stories and poems, and like some were only like as the length of one episode, some were broken up, but it was just like books and such that he really enjoyed, but all shorter
Oh,
con form, and he just read them. It's
that's
essentially his
so
podcasts were
sweet.
essentially an audiobook for short form books.
That makes sense. That's kind of
Yeah.
nice.
It was a nice
Um,
break from like having to like actually like digest information.
that's true. It's not like
Sometimes
long, it's
podcasts, you're
just
like,
like
this is a
short. It's
lot.
done.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
So back, Cyril, let's start with
Well, they
being
got to the
assigned to this
prison.
planet. Yeah.
So I don't understand Cassian's insistence to keep pretending that he was a tourist. Like, they're not listening to him. Stop telling them you're a tourist and just do what they tell you. It's
I think it's the card he has to play because he can't play his actual name. Like it's the only card he has. He's like,
I don't have an issue with him being like, well, I was a tourist and I didn't do anything and they scooped me up and they sentenced me to 6 years.
yeah.
The problem I have is like everywhere in this process, he's just fighting them and he's like, but I'm just a tourist. And it's
Yeah, like it's
literally
his
so
tag.
sad. It's the same thing that he did on the beach where if he had stayed still and just didn't move, they would not have gone after him.
Mhm.
But because he didn't want to be around
He looks
suspicious,
sus.
and he was like looking around and walking away, and finally a stormtrooper did their job, or surge trooper, whatever that was, the sea
Sure.
trooper,
Sure, because
shore
they were
trooper,
on the shore, like the beach. It was a shore.
yeah, a shore trooper did his job and was like, yo man, that that guy looks like suspicious too.
Yeah.
If he hadn't overreacted, he never would have gotten caught. And that's what all of this plays as to me is more overreaction. He's
Hmm.
not getting out of the sentence. It honestly, like, probably would be better for him to not make noise and just do his
Put his
sentence
head
and like
down and go through it. Yeah.
no one will look twice at him and then he'll get released and well
Yeah.
hopefully you would hope, but we learned later that all the inmates got their time doubled for no reason.
Yes. And then
um
we pop back to Cyril and
who
Blevins.
I just want to take a minute and be like, I am jealous of this cubicle even more. Because I thought he was in a circle cubicle where it was a table. No, no, no. It's like a gaming pod
Yes.
with two screens. And he's just like,
So you're taking it back. You're like, I will take the cubicle.
I will take that
Is it
cubicle.
no
I
longer called a
will.
cubicle because it's not a cube?
What would we
Would
call
it be
it?
like a
Spherical?
circle?
Not it's well, it's 3D, so it'd be a sphere.
I don't
It's
know.
spherical. I feel like it's a spherical. I'm going with spherical. So I would love a spherical where it's essentially a large gaming chair and you can just mega mind it from one spot. Uh
As long as my chair spins, I'm good.
I don't think well, it looks like it does.
I need a spinning chair.
Yeah, but that's where I'm just kind of like it's just really funny this shot where they like come to talk to him and he just has the two screens and he's just like and so we find out that he's been causing trouble at work, but not in the way you would think.
And it's not really quite at work. It's like he just
Well,
keeps
it
it is,
is
but it isn't.
technically
Yeah.
he's using his job to just falsify inquiry requests.
Yeah.
And so like I did love when him and what's her face?
Blevins.
Levins met Dedra because I was like, ooh, 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 planets are colliding because she took over his section and maybe that she'll bring him on. But she literally just pumped him full of information, pumped him for information, and then was like, yeah, so like take this as a kernel that, like, sure, we are listening to you, but go back to work and do not
Yeah.
pursue this anymore. And why do I feel that he's not going to listen to
No,
her?
he's not. But also, I'm gonna give props where props are due. Way to go, Cyril, for standing up and being like, I did my job. I did what I was supposed to. And you need to give
I
me
did not
more than this.
deserve this.
I gave you all this information and informed you that I literally recited a report I never got to read and gave you missing information. Like, I did what was right. Sorry if I got a little like overeager, but one, you are also an overeager person, as we have
But
seen.
this is where I feel like even within the ranks, there is like a classism there. He
Yeah.
was external security,
Yeah. But
not
I'm like
ISB. I am
I'm
proud of
giving him
him.
his props for standing up for himself because with his family, he does not do that. He just gets pushed over. And this is the first time where he is just like, no, this
He
is
really
me.
advocated for
Yes.
himself, which was really nice. Did it work? No.
No, but I'm glad he did it.
But I'm glad that he did it because I think that it's good for his character. Like I said, Cassian is his arch nemesis. And he
Yeah.
so that's where it's just like I agree that maybe he is the best person to be searching for Cassian, but I don't know that he knows Cassian enough to be that
Yeah.
person, like to really plead that
But
case.
I think like he would be a good resource to be
Yeah.
using
Well,
because
so she said that
he
well,
did find a lot of this information in a very short time, and it's taken them how long now to even like
but here's the thing. He didn't find the information. The
no.
information walked into his
Yeah.
door. Someone tattled,
Yeah. It's true.
right? Like if
It's true.
Tim had not been pissy with Cassian because he was jealous,
Yeah.
they would be nowhere.
Tim.
I know. So that's where it's just like, you know what? I can see also, I wonder if Dedra is kind of sensing that he's overzealous about it and
Yeah.
that he's not going to be an easy person to manage.
Yeah.
So that's where it's just like, I already have a team. I already have the resources. We just fought for them, right? Like they
Yeah.
just argued for all those resources. So to her, she's just like, I don't need you, man. Go back to fuel emissions and be a data analyst and be thankful that
Yeah.
you did even this much.
So then we go back to prison. We see they no longer have shoes. They go on the thing.
The floor, it took me a second. I was like, oh, did they get injected with something? And then the boots, and I was like, oh my God. Because first of all, I was like, guys, what is with all the feet? There's so many feet in this episode. Other people's feet creep me out, and all this was shots of feet
It really was.
over and over and over again. But then I was just like, lady, why aren't you thinking clearly? The floor is the problem.
It's lava.
The floor is lava, quite literally.
Also,
Um,
due to like the first time they experienced it, dude was way too overeager with that button.
oh my
He was like
God.
so excited to be like, haha.
I think he's just like, but like, it's the only time he gets to do it for no reason, right? Like, he's just like,
But I feel like they
oh.
overuse it anyway.
Do they? It's a great
We don't see
control
it. We
tool.
don't see it, but like when they're in the room with the thing, they're like, the table with the lowest numbers will be disciplined. So we don't see it, but like,
They got disciplined that night.
yeah,
But here's the thing. From a jailer's perspective, that's good motivation to increase output.
it is, but there's also like no extra points because they were down a guy the whole day.
No, that's the only thing. That's where I'm just kind of like, I think they should get a pass for the one day they're down.
Yeah.
But yeah, watching Cassian's first wait, before we even get to Cassian's face in all this, they go through the things. Cassian is like a very what the fuck WTF through this whole episode. But I had a WTF moment when he got to his room and I did not realize that is that Andy Circus?
It's Gollum, yeah.
And I
You
was
didn't,
like,
as soon as he introduced himself as he's Kino Loy, we see him before he gets to his room. I'm like,
I didn't even
Gollum.
notice when he came up to be like, I'm the room leader. And I was like, Andy Circus, what are you doing here?
Oh, I was like, Gollum has arrived,
Oh my God. Oh my God. And he's mean. And I was just like,
and
you know
I
what?
love
I would
it.
be too. I would be too.
Also,
He's
a
like,
great person that reads a good audiobook. He does the Lord of the Rings series.
I have heard that he does an amazing job. I've been thinking about like listening. I'm not an audiobook person, but I would listen to Andy Circus read me Lord of the Rings. Um, but yeah, so it was just wild because like I mean it's just labor, right? Like they don't get paid for that. Their payment is not dying. Um, but Cassian is so shell-shocked, kind of. Like
It
he's
is, and
it's
that there's a part of me that's like, what is he noticing? Because I feel like he is shocked, but I feel like he's noticing something that's going to help him in the future.
yeah.
Or if he like sees a better way for production, or like something that gets him to a point. Because we know Kino Loy Gollum over here only has 249 days left of his sentence.
So that is what I was thinking as well. To be honest, I was just like, he is analyzing this, and I wonder if he's trying to figure out a way that they
I
can
think he sees a better
increase their
system.
output, like a better system. But I wonder if he's not going to put it into place until like it's closer to the end of that period so he can be the
Hmm.
room leader
Yep.
and not have to do the labor.
Yep.
Because it's a 12-hour shift where they are no breaks,
Hmm.
right? Like it seems very much no breaks. And so that's rough.
Yeah.
And even like when we jump forward in time, we've only jumped 30 shifts and they're counting it by shifts. And
Yeah.
I feel instead of counting it by days, They're counting it by shifts, and I feel like that's very intentional.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then we jump back to the senator, and I feel like between Cyril and Andor, the Coruscant stuff is back to being a little boring. The only interesting moment in all of this, other than the fact that they're talking about how hard it is to move money because of this bank job that happened, this robbery that happened, is when they run into her daughter again.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you clocked up, but she looks suspicious of that man so much. She's like, "Oh, you're here again." And he's like, "Yes, I'm developing a taste for Coruscant," or whatever he said. I think either her daughter is a rebel or her daughter is going to accidentally blow up her spot because she thinks that her mom might be having an affair. But we learned some information, right? We learned that she came to Coruscant when she was 16 and she had already been married a year.
She'd become a senator, not just came to
Oh,
Coruscant. She was a
she was a
senator at
senator.
16.
So when
I
you
think
look
that's
at
a
how
big
old she
deal.
is, she has been a senator a long time.
Yeah.
And that she squirreled away 400,000, I assume, credits for the
I'm assuming, yeah.
resistance. But yeah, so that's where it's just kind of like, these little tidbits of information were interesting. The whole scene is just like obviously too long, but we
Yeah.
needed the I feel like we need that information somehow. So she's been
Yeah.
with her husband for since she was 15, which is wild to me that he is the way he is right now. But whatever. But I think that her daughter is suspicious of them because she thinks they're having an affair.
Okay. I still think
Because
her
she's
daughter's
like,
a rebel in
"Oh,
some way.
I wonder if she is, and I wonder if it will be unintentional that she gives it
Hmm.
away to their her dad
Mm.
because her dad knows maybe that they're not having an affair, but what else could it be that they're
Yeah.
secretive about?"
Yeah.
Um, so I'm wondering if that's where we're going
Yeah.
because like the way she looked at him and she's like, "Oh, it's you again." Like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're here with my mom again.
Again.
I didn't see you before, but now I've seen you twice."
Yeah.
And so that's right. And then like this is where we do the time jump. We go back to the prison. Andor has been there for 30 shifts, which I assume is 30 days.
Yeah, that's
Um,
what I was assuming.
but yeah, so he's used this is where we see that he's used to the process. He eats the food, he drinks the nutrition, whatever. But honestly, someone who grew up hungry, like I wonder if he doesn't mind it. Like, does it taste good? No, but at least he
Well,
can
but like
eat
the guy
whenever
said,
he
he's like, you're
wants.
gonna get used to it. Like,
You
yeah,
get
you
used to
need to
it.
eat. You need to eat.
You
Like
need,
that's
and I wonder if it's kind of nice that he's not being starved. Like he's like, I can eat whenever I want.
yeah.
And he's not just constantly looking for money to pay for food. I mean, the whole system is wild with the floor and them being in their space, but it is effective.
Until people don't want to work anymore and get out on the floor when they shouldn't.
That guy was so hopeless. It was so sad when he was like talking to Andor and he was just like, "You're never gonna get out of here. Like, whatever you do, like, this is." I was
Can
just
we
like, "Oh,
talk about the two that were signing across pathways?
I didn't even notice."
It was
But
earlier on. It's when it was the first shot where you realize how many prisoners are there and they're in those tunnels. And Cassian is looking at the guy in front of him who is like making motions at the thing. But then you realize when they span the thing, there's another guy in another thing signing back to him. So they're communicating.
was that what we were supposed to be looking at? I was looking at
Yes.
the set.
Yes, in the window, because you see the guy. I think the set was part of it to like get how big and massive this place was. But the guy that was in front that Cassian was watching, and Cassian like pans over, he
Oh,
sees the things. But if you look at the one right across, there's a guy in that one signing back to the guy. So
oh my God,
they're
Danny,
communicating.
I did not even notice. I literally was just
When
kind of
you miss
like,
things, I question if I make it up in my head. I'm like, that did
I,
happen,
I,
right?
I was like so like I was like, "Ooh, look at how many people. Ooh." I was like, look at all the lines. And I didn't even look at the prisoners.
Yes, there was communication going on. So I guess we will
So I
discuss that when that
wonder,
becomes a thing.
well, so because like some of the prisoners had rebellion talk, right? They were just like, do you know about it? And obviously Cassian is lying and he does know about it, but the fact that they heard about it in the prison and they're starting to get hopeful for a rebellion to the
And
Empire.
Cassian is also there under an assumed name. So if they find out about this, they're going to be like, whoa, 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 you were a
Whoa.
tourist at a beach.
A Taras.
How do you know this? And then poor Marva.
She's gonna die.
She is trying her
She's
hardest to be part of the rebellion, but
I know, but like, is she like, who is she talking to? Nobody.
she wasn't talking
This,
to anyone. She was trying to find out because so we've learned that the hotel has closed, which was like
yeah,
the main moneymaker of the planet. And she was trying to find out if the tunnels that ran beneath the hotel were open still so that they can bring rebels in. But she doesn't actually have like a rebel connection.
no, she's just trying to get information on their stronghold on Ferrix.
Yeah.
It is very sad. This whole scene, it like where they're just like, she's not my mother, and Bix is like, well, she's not mine either, and then so
Well, no, because it
Bix,
was she's not my mother, she's not yours either.
yeah, so it's just like it's not our job, but like obviously we know that Andor is in prison, but they do not know where he
They do
is
not, to the point that Cinta and Vel are also staking out Marva's house.
to see if he comes back.
Hmm?
That was like a jump scare. I don't know why I forgot Vel existed. And then I saw that scene and I was like, oh, there she is, hunting Andor. Um, can we talk about the conversation that they had where Cinta told her, I told you that the struggle comes first
Mm-hmm.
and everything else is second. So Cinta is very much that like good little soldier, and Vel is the one who is like, maybe we could do our own thing. But she
Yeah.
also dropped a little bit of tidbit where she's like, maybe I should pose with a little rich girl like running away from her family, and
Yeah.
that being a low blow means that's Vel's story,
Yeah.
that she was from a wealthy family and ran away. So now I'm curious, what
I do want
family,
more. Yes.
and like what is she running away from, and is that going to come back? But like this whole scene where Bix is like signaling to try and get help. So because Cassian's mom is sick. And it's just like so sad that that is what got them caught. That guy did not want to do it. He didn't. And it's very clear that that's what got them caught for
Yeah.
something that wasn't going to get them anything. They weren't going to respond.
Part of me also, so here's my other thing with the questioning of that being the reason they got caught. Is that the reason, or is it because um Deidre now had more information from Cyril and gave them other names?
Did Cyril give them Bix's name?
We didn't see it, but the fact that Deidre is now there and finding Cassian's friends.
I don't know. But maybe, but I don't think that's
Like,
why. I
I
I
I
think
think it may be a mix of it. I'm just not sold that because Bix didn't like say her name on the line or anything. I think her name was provided.
they said her last name though when they saw her.
When they saw her, but when she was trying to contact
But
our guy, Luthen,
yeah,
her name
but he
wasn't out
knew.
there.
But he knows it's her.
Luthen does, but the Empire didn't. But now the Empire's being called.
So I think that the Empire, like, I think they're investigating known associates, and she's
Hmm.
very much a known associate,
Yes.
right? They must know that Tim died and she was
Well, yeah, because they had her at
restrained.
a point.
So like that's why. But well, I guess I wonder if she got tagged as a known associate or if they know. Because the thing that throws me is the guy. Like the communicators in his backyard. So like
Yeah.
that's where I'm just like, why else would they have picked him up if
Mhm.
not because of this? And
Because we well,
and I
because
wonder if
they
he
could have.
gave Bix's name up.
I don't think he
I
would have given Bix's name up. I still think Cyril had some of these names. Um, but I'm not sure. I think we'll find out, but I don't think he gave Bix up.
I think he gave Bix up.
So I think he's has bigger willpower than that.
Yeah, I don't know. But the thing that confused me the most in this episode was this last 5 minutes. I was like, where did we go, Luthen? What are we doing? And what is that guy doing here? Why is he here? And I didn't know he was in this show. He's in so many things. Why is he in the show too? And I just like, he's always weird in all of them. And I'm just like, what is happening?
A
I did like
rebellion.
something. Yeah, well, but I did like something he said where he was just like, Luthen's goal, end goal, is to incite a unified rebellion. And I
Hmm.
think that he says it here that an angry empire oppression leads to rebellion.
Yes.
And so he wants the empire angry. He wants them to come down with a hard hand because that is what's going to make the people of the gas. So I said in our last episode, I think that I think he had an ulterior motive with such a big heist. And
Yeah.
that this is it. He wanted the empire to react this way so that it would bring everybody together. So this guy, I don't even know his name. uh Guerrera.
Yeah.
He asks him, the Guerrera is telling him there's all these different kinds of factions in the galaxy, separatists, this, that, whatever. And he asks Luthen, what are you? Because I've never found out. And I think that's where it's just like there have always been pieces of rebellion. It's just like I guess I can liken it to like all the different 100 million types of religions, right? Like there's not
Yeah.
one, but there's so many different factions of even like Christianity, right? Like there's not one,
Yeah.
there's so many kinds
Yeah.
of Christians. And so like this is kind of the same thing where they're like, I think Luthen, that's where I'm just like, is he a separatist at heart? And what does that mean? What do all of these words
Yeah.
mean? Um,
Yeah.
And is he the reason the rebellion becomes one? Like his efforts in Andor brings everything together.
I don't know. I think we're going to have to wait and see.
I'm worried about Bix.
I am too.
So that's where I'm just like, we'll see.
So, but in the meantime, we're not the droids you're looking for.
But we're the droids you're going to get.